All right. So now we'll open it up for questions and comments. Anyone have a question or comment? Yes. Give him that mic. Where's that mic?
Okay, so you know how you were saying, if you get off the path that you're supposed to be on, you can experience some negative things. So, what sort of things would you say? Like, how would you know the difference between whether you are sort of on the wrong path, or if you are just on the right path and experiencing negative things in that? Like, the Israelites are on the right path, trying to get out. So how would you know the difference between if you're on the right path experiencing hard times or on the wrong path experiencing hard times?
All right. We thank you for asking that question. So the question was, how do you know, what the difference is concerning what you're experiencing? If we're going to experience hardships and things like that, one way you'll know is when you're on the path that God has set you on, God is there to defend you. He's there to help. When you're not on the path when you're on the path that God did not set for you to be on, you on your own. The only thing you're going to get from God is a warning. Now, how do you tell the difference? It's really about being close to God and having that relationship with Him to begin with. When you have the relationship with God that you're supposed to have as far as walking with Him, you can tell when God's not with you. You can tell, wait a minute, something ain't right. And on top of that, you'll get that unction that, okay, I feel like maybe I've gone the wrong way. And I think that's a very, very good question, because I can't tell you the number of times I've seen situations where I've known somebody was off the right path, and every time they run into obstacles, it's the devil. The devil's just bringing this. The devil's just doing that. And a lot of times, it's just God trying to get people's attention. And so, here's how you know in a nutshell. When you're walking with God, you have an inner peace about the decisions you make and things like that. You'll just have a peace. But when you get off the path that God has set you on, that peace is not there. And it's not coming as natural to you, the decisions that you have to make. Not only that, it feels like every time it's time for you to make a turn or you to do something, it feels like you're fighting. If that makes any sense. Which is why we have so many stressed Christians who are up worrying. When you're following God, you don't have to worry. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have Christians who are on the right path that don't worry. But what I'm saying is, when you're following God, number one, you don't have to worry. And if you're one of those people that don't normally worry when you're following God, as soon as that uneasiness comes, then you know, okay, something is wrong here. Something is wrong here. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you pay attention very closely, you'll find yourself walking this. You can be in the wrong path, and you'll find yourself walking this wrong path, and you, deep down inside, you'll begin to make excuses to stay on that path. You'll try to begin to justify why you're on that path. And you'll find yourself trying to explain it over and over again of why you're on that path. Whereas, like, for instance, I know right now, tonight, I am standing exactly where I'm supposed to be standing. And so if somebody questioned me about it, I'm not going to question myself. I don't feel the need to explain to anybody why I'm doing what I'm doing or why I'm standing right here, right now. I know this is where God have me. But see, when you're on the wrong path and you begin to question it, you see, it's because there's no peace there. And you feel the need to try to explain it. You feel the need. Basically, what you're trying to do is make peace with it. If that makes any sense. And so that's how you know when you're when you're on the wrong path. You see, and that's how you know the difference in that peace. The peace of God, it surpasses all understanding. You can have a whole army against you, and you won't be bothered by it because God is with you. And then you could have a whole army against you on the wrong road, and now you're worried, wondering where God is. You see that? And so that's the difference. Does that make any sense? All right. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add to that?
I just wanted to add something to it too. Just speaking from experience, when you have a really close relationship with God and you get off of the path, there is a strong disconnect that you feel. It's like when you have a close relationship with God, it's like, okay, you recognize the voice of the Lord, you recognize when He's speaking to you, and then when you get off the path, it's like you start to question in your mind, was that me, or was that God, or where did that even come from? And not only that, when you start making decisions, you run into a lot of brick walls. Like, the Lord is not going to bless things that are not of Him. He's not going to create opportunities, so it's not going to be as easy for you to walk down that road. You'll run into a lot of roadblocks and a lot of problems, which would be warnings, so to speak. Like, this is not the way that you're supposed to be going, because you're going to run into a lot of issues that normally, if it was the Lord, stuff would be falling into place.
Amen.